welcome back to Salmon's Pizzeria. We are back once again for the Championship Penitentiary, and very much in the Penitentiary this week. It's, of course, myself and my co-host for tonight, Kieran Ashton. How are you, Kieran?
All right. I mean, I think we're going to talk about Friday night's fucking shit show. Um, but so saying I'm fine when I'm just about to trauma dump on you is it's a bit of a stretch. But other than that, outside of football, I'm doing all right. I am once again. I'm glad to be back on.
Don't worry, I've got my trauma dumping from Saturday to go through, so it's very once again it's Scotland's most depressing football podcast. Anyway, as mentioned by Kieran, well alluded to, there was Friday night action under the lights, and it was Ross County at home to Partick Thistle. Ross County, this was their first game under Stuart Kettlewell, so hoping for that new manager bounce. Meanwhile, Thistle coming off of a pretty emphatic comeback against Greenock Morton last time around. Kieran, you watched this one. You didn't make the trip up to Dingwall, but it was on BBC Scotland. So, how'd it go?
Oh, I mean, where do I start? To be honest, Ross County looking for their manager bounce, their new manager bounce, appointing Stuart Cratewell, and by God, did they get it. 30 seconds in, we find ourselves 1-0 down, and it's just a shit goal we concede. I mean, our centre backs between them have at least 4 or 5 opportunities to clear the ball away, and they fail to do so. It's just they're playing head tennis. Not one of them just has the balls to clear the ball properly away, and it falls to Jay Henderson. He puts it in the back of the net, and that's that 1-0 down. It's just really schoolboy stuff. To be honest, and I come on here and I think I've kind of backed the defence to the hilt really when it comes to our two, in particular, O'Reilly and Ashcroft, but both of them are, and the whole defence as a whole. We've got Paddy Redden, who's nowhere to be seen, in defence at that point. Um, you know, he should be there and he's not, and it's in the back of the net. It's a really poor goal to concede, and before you know it, about 9 minutes after that, already we're 30 seconds in and we've conceded, and we're 1-0 down. 10 minutes in, we're 2-0 down, and it's Henderson again. And again, it's just both really, really poor goals to concede. Probably the first one's a lot worse than the second, but regardless, we shouldn't be doing that. We shouldn't be going down to the team that's bottom of the league, who have come on and slagged off on this podcast for like the entirety of this season. And they've just took two past us 10 minutes in. Mind you, after that, I wouldn't say they played us off the park. I don't think they got out their fucking own half. After their two goals. Apart from, I think it was the second half, mind you. Josh Clark made a good save. But other than that, Ross County didn't have to do anything either, really. In fairness, they didn't have to come out and batter us because they already, done what they needed to. And Samuel hit the bar about 5-10 minutes after they scored their second, from about 5 yards out. I felt pretty bad for Sosa. It was a good touch for him, but it just never fell to him, so to speak. And I think he got his knee to it. But I falls to Samuel, and Samuel hits the bar 5 yards out. He's got to be scoring that. Um, but I feel we didn't threaten him enough at all. We didn't look that threatening at all. Nobody kind of took the game by the scruff of the neck, I felt. We had, and again, I've been praising Mark Wilson and Alex Ray, but I think they got it really badly wrong. For example, Paddy Redden was playing a left back slash centre mid, that inverted role. The shape just not right at all. It was just all over the place. And that's just the story of the night. Really, everything was all over the place. That first goal was shocking. But that's us coming away back for home, not winning. We've not won away. We've not won away from home since Queens Park away at the end of September. Which is pretty poor, all things considered. I mean, that is the difference between finishing, winning the league and slash getting promoted and not winning the league and having another year in the championship. But I obviously will go on to talk about the postponements. But thank God the St Johnstone game was postponed, or else I think the league would have been done on Saturday. I think 8 points is probably a bit too much now, and we are sleepwalking into a bad run of form. I felt after the Morton game. Hopefully, we can have put that to bed because we were already in a bit of a rut before the Morton game. But it's just feel like it's just a massive reality check, I suppose, and it just wasn't good at all. It's probably the most annoyed I've felt after the game this season, and we have lost quite a few. Maybe Kirkcaldy away because we just shit the bed in Kirkcaldy, but I it's probably the most annoyed I've felt because I just and we know we can play better, but we just didn't. And that's pretty much the story of the game.
I was going to say it's like when it comes to the games in hand that that the mess that this winter period has given. It's like everyone's on like a whole bunch of different amount of games. It's like this result has huge ramifications at both ends of the table. We'll start off with Ross County, obviously, because
Yeah,
this is a huge win for them. I could not tell you the last time they won. I probably should have checked this before we done the
I don't know if
podcast, but
it's a way to use. Maybe no, not a way to use. Sorry, at home to use at Victoria Park.
no, they won a game after that. It was Dunfermline. It was Dunfermline, actually, I think. Yeah, that's their third win. Yeah, it was
Uh-huh.
against Dunfermline. That was their last win, and that was at home, and that was back in like October, I want to
Hmm.
say, because I think their win against us was at the end of September.
Yeah.
But it's massive, especially when you consider the amount of games in hand they've got. It's like they've got two games in hand on Edge, and they're 4 points off. It's like Stuart Kettlewell, someone who knows the club, and it's like granted we were saying last time about what happened in the Premiership. Could could he keep them up?
I think you could. I think I've seen enough on Saturday to kind of suggest that he probably could. Mind you, I don't. I think other than that, other than their two goals, and again, I think it was more on our defence more than their attacking prowess, to be honest. But I feel they were pretty poor going forward, apart from their two goals, and that sounds daft to say because we've just conceded two against them. But um, other than that, it was pretty comfortable. It was pretty comfortable for them. It was a pretty comfortable win. They didn't have to do much on Friday, to be honest. We had a couple of chances to get back into the game, but it was very powder puff. But I think he could. I think he could keep them up as well. I think that's is it 10 points off the promotion playoffs as well? Might be more than that. I'm not entirely sure.
They're sitting 13. They're sitting
Aye.
13 with a game in hand.
Yeah, so if they win that game in hand, they're 10 points off promotion playoffs. So I think that may be a bit of a stretch, but who knows what happens in this division? Anything can happen in this division. But I think the main aim for Ross County is staying up, and I think they might do it. I didn't think so a couple of weeks ago, but it's a lot closer than what people think.
And then, of course, as you mentioned it earlier about the other end of the table, sorry, with St Johnson's game being called off, you're 5 points behind now. It's like you face bottom of the league and you end up with a result like that.
Yeah.
It's like if St Johnson had played and won, like you say, that would have been it. So
Hmm.
RIP Partick Thistle's very short-lived title challenge.
Oh, Cal's going to absolutely love that.
Absolutely. But
But I mean, we've got looking at the end of the month as well. We do have St Johnstone at McDermott Park. I think if they win their game in hand and they beat us at McDermott, I think that's curtains on our title race. But I mean, there's still a lot of football to get played. I'm kind of trying to keep my mouth firmly shut while Cal's getting bites on Twitter. Yeah, he's doing well. He's doing well with them. He's had a few off me in the group chat as well. But I think for us, I think our main aim is to try and consolidate second. I think that's what it should be, and if we're still in a title race by the end of the season, so be it. But before the start of the season, I would have bet you're on for playoffs, considering what was happening with the turmoil behind the scenes and whatever. There's a lot of people think we were finishing as low as eighth, which I think was a bit of an overreaction. I thought we'd be at least mid-table, but about fifth or sixth and about that, but just missed out in the playoffs. So I would have bet your hand, but now the situation we find ourselves in, we're second, and it'd be really bad to lose the position that we're in, considering how far away we have been in second for like 2 months now. I think 3 months now. So we'll see what happens, but we need to get out of this rut that we're in at the moment. As I said, I thought the Morton win would help get us out of that, but obviously not. So we need to try and win fast.
It's a case of you've been. It's like yourself and St Johnson have just been alone up that end for ages, and it's like we'll get on to Arbroath in a bit, but it's like if you're wanting to get closer to another team, it's not Arbroath is not the one you want to get closer to.
Yeah.
But
they're now 3 points behind us in the league, so yeah, it's
4.
squeaky bum time for us.
It's 4, but
it's
getting close. It's getting close.
Aye.
They moved 3 points closer. That's what you meant,
Yeah.
That's what it is. But we'll move on to the Saturday games, and of course we have to mention the fact that Morton against Dunfermline and Queen's Park against St Johnstone were both called off in the morning due to frozen pitches. However, what this does mean is that Dunfermline and Queen's Park both haven't actually played yet in 2026.
I think the last time Dunfermline have played was like December or something like that. I think it was it might have been the Challenge Cup the last time you played.
Oh, was it? No, I don't think it was.
No,
I think it was a game. It was a league game. We're not going to talk about it.
Oh yeah,
I can't remember who their last game against was, but yeah, that was at the end of December. But yeah, the big one for Saturday is, of course, Raith against Arbroath. So now it's my turn for the trauma dump pick because I have a lot to say about this. So Raith are coming into this following a 0-0 draw against Airdrie. And, a 0-0 draw that we were kind of lucky to get once you see the highlights of the chance that Airdrie missed. Arbroath, meanwhile, lost 1-0 to St Johnstone, but even then that was probably quite harsh considering the goal they conceded, but it was also deserved when you see the amount of chances St Johnstone had. But, oh dear God, this was very much a game of two halves, to use the old cliche, because first 25 minutes, I would say, it was pretty much just Raith camped in the Arbroath half.
Yeah.
And then their first... Oh, God. It's like their first goal came from, like, their first attack. Like, the ball was played down the left, and it was crossed in, but it just sort of... It deflected. It hit off a Rovers player. I think it was... I'm not sure who it hit off. I think it might have been Hanlon. And usually when a cross hits a player, 99 times out of 100, it either goes out behind the goal and it's a corner, or it heads back to the boy who's crossed the ball in. This managed to hit Hanlon's the top of his thigh, so it slowed it down just enough to go into this perfect pocket of space where Gavin O'Reilly had just ran into completely unmarked, and he manages to poke it home after a couple of touches. So, incredible. Just showing that lack of clinical finishing that Raith have, which we'll get into. And then, not long after, if it wasn't for a wonderful save by Josh Ray, really, really good save. I'm convinced this was in, but he just tips it onto the post and it bounces along the line and out. It would have been 2-0 really quickly. And then not long after, And it's like that chance came from what was it? O'Connor. O'Connor just fucking around at the back. It's like Raith just
Yeah.
take a short goal kick, and then O'Connor just kicks it straight at an Arbroath player, and he's like on the edge of the 6-yard box. It's like, what are you doing? What are you playing at? And that happened a couple of times actually in that first half, just before the second goal. And speaking of the second goal, yeah, it's like a shot from the edge of the box. I'm not sure who took it, but it was going towards like the top corner, and Josh Ray pulls out a really good save. He manages to get a good hand to it to push it away. Straight to Dapo Mabude, who is caught J-Ro napping and has just dived in, and there's nothing Ray can do because he's on the floor having just made that really good save, and it's just like, well, what the fuck? And it's a case of the difference between Arbroath and Raith is the fact that if that was to happen with Raith, we wouldn't have someone there.
Mm-hmm.
We just wouldn't, especially if we're going off the first half. But the second half, it goes a lot better, and it's because of a double substitution made at half time. The removal of Jack Hamilton and Paul McMullen. I have said my piece about these two, and I'll get onto it at the end of the game because that's where I have them in my notes. But it was night and day. It was genuinely night and day. We were so much quicker on the ball. It's like balls were going up wide and they were getting played back in. It was all over. And like 52nd minute, Scott Brown just pulls out a classic Scott Brown move of just thunder cunt from 25 yards straight into the top corner. A brilliant hit.
I don't think the keeper even dived for it as well.
No, keeper didn't move.
It was
Couldn't
straight
do
in the top corner, aye.
It was right in the top corner. It's like the behind the goal camera angle for this really puts it just it's like the best angle for it because you just see like the amount of power that he's got on that is ridiculous. And then about 15 minutes later, there was a passing move. It was like Brown plays it to Chin. First time, just like little deft touch to Easton, who then slips Josh Mullen through, who came on for McMullen. Chin came on for Hamilton. And, it's like Mullen just does a little skip over the ball because that's where the ball's being played. It's like directly behind him. And just skips over the ball and just places it into the corner. 2-2. And at that point, it's just like, we're going to win this. How? How has this happened? Just absolutely incredible. And we almost do get a winner. We almost do get a third because a cross comes in from a corner and it hits J-Ro perfectly, like redeeming himself for that first goal, like the second goal where he was asleep. It falls to him. He's in loads of space and he heads it, and it hits Dylan Easton, who was marking the goalkeeper, and it hits it wide. So Easton got classes offside because of it hitting Easton, but it's like sliding doors that moment. Really, really sliding doors that moment. Because then 81st minute. So what was it? So it's like Richard Chin has the ball on the left. He tries to play it into the middle. It gets intercepted and just sort of like hoofed back into sort of like the halfway line. Darragh O'Connor and Paul Hanlon, centre backs, defensive line, are about 10-15 yards off the halfway line. O'Connor goes for the ball, as he should. And he goes, and he just wins a header, just poof, thuds it back. He doesn't get back. He just stays there. You see in the highlights, he just stays there at the halfway line. And so it's just Hanlon by himself about 10 yards behind everyone else. And the ball's played over the top. Paul Hanlon's on like the Raith left side, and on the Arbroath left side is Scott Robinson, who has all the space in the world. I could not believe that it was onside because no one in the South Stand could believe it was onside just because of how much space he had. It was ridiculous. And, it's like he slots it home. And that was it. That was 3-2 Arbroath, and they managed to come away with a win. And, it's really, really annoying when you see, because it's like back-to-back games. Actually, 3 home games in a row now. We have been by far and away the better side in the second half once we've made changes. And, I think I said last week about how I was hoping for the I was hoping for the lineups to start being what finishes the games, and it's this reason why. Because I don't. I'm very close to giving up on being in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm very close to being like, nah, we're not getting the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the one hope I have is the fact that, trying to think, before the game, Dugami was saying that within 10 days we'll be seeing the return of Vaughan, Matthews, and Byrne. And I really, really need Vaughan back because the Hamilton McMullen partnership is probably the worst strike force in the league. It's the worst starting strike force partnership in the league because it's Hamilton has been our starting striker now since about September. He's got 3 league goals. He's got a goal every 468 minutes. Starting striker in the championship, that is not what you want.
No,
and then you've got Paul
absolutely not.
McMullen, and he is the most frustrating player on this team after Jack Hamilton easily. Because yes, McMullen has 4 assists, but it's like he does everything right except for the final third. And for a man of, and it's like a player of his experience, it's like the last time he was in the championship with Dundee, he finished the season with 6 goals and 12 assists. And I'm not saying he needs to replicate those numbers, but like 4 assists at this stage, and he started all but 1 game, I think. It's just not good enough, and it shows because it's like when it's like Chin is a bit like McMullen, and like he's got a lot of pace, but the thing is, Chin's raw. He's young, but he shows so much more going forward. Like he's got 1 goal, but you feel like, but that's more than McMullen. It's more than McMullen. We got Andy Winter in on loan. Like I said, Vaughan's coming back, so it really is a case of, if there is still hope by the end of, if we're still very much in, I'm basically holding off until like February, really, end of February, because that's when the loan market shuts. But yeah, just my word, we need sorting out going forward. But for once, the downfall in this game was very much what happened at the back. And my blame for it, I don't want to go all in on one person because it was just functionally wrong. Just it was multiple errors from multiple players. But it's like Darragh O'Connor, who's been brilliant. It's like I think his first game was the 2-0 loss at Eastern Park, and I was just like, I hate him. This is rubbish. But of course, I'm going to say that because we lost to Derby.
Yeah.
But then after that, it's like Raith put out one of their things before, one of their cartoons. One of their cartoons before the game. And it was about how Darragh O'Connor in his 14 games had kept 8 clean sheets. And it's like 73% defensive duels won, something like that. And then he goes and pulls an absolute stinker on Saturday. It was not good. He was not good on Saturday. And then, of course, you got J. Rule being at fault for that second one, arguably with him falling asleep at the back. But then he almost, he very easily could have got what was the winning goal. So it's just a weird one. Just really, really weird. And, it's like to have come back from 2-0 and had all that hope, it's just, fuck.
Aye.
But, Arbroath, I have to give plaudits to them because, it's like, first half alone, they deserve to win the game. It's like they could have very easily been 3 or 4-0 up. And what was it? It's like then now after 22 games, they're 3 points off of what their total was when they were challenging Kilmarnock for the league. And to do that on your first season back it's incredible. It's that's all I can say. It's really, really good from them, and they're finishing third. I've just accepted. It's like, unless something major happens, like Hamilton and Gold being snapped up by someone, I don't see them finishing any lower than second. No, sorry, third. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Being ahead of myself. The Partick Thistle collapse continues. But I very much see them. They're finishing third. I don't think we'll get onto the other teams, but just through consistency, they're going to stay third. And it's absolutely deserved. It's absolutely deserved.
Aye.
Almost. I'm not sure if you've got anything to add on this, Kieran.
I think you've just pretty much hit the nail on the head, to be honest. I think
A lot
the
of
first
them.
thing you picked up on was, aye, I think the first thing you kind of picked up was that it was a contrast between a team being very clinical and a team not, a team that's lacking that. Mind you, you've done well to battle back for being 2-0 down, but the chances that you missed, especially the one you were talking about, the J-O one, was brutal. But I think at the back he looked very fragile, which is mad to think considering you went to the top three teams away, mine included, and Alcla's in that, and you look fairly solid at the back, I would say, um, for the games. Arbroath away,
That's what makes this game weird because for once
yeah,
it is the defensive side of things that has
yeah,
gone wrong. We've been so
aye,
good at the back. I think we're second in the league when it comes to clean sheets.
yeah, aye. It's wild, but again, I think that's you can be solid at the back all you want, but you need to put the ball in the back of the net, and you need to win games and pick up points. And aye, was it not 3x Dunfermline then as well, scoring the 3 goals?
I think I'd seen that mentioned. That's just
Yeah,
very funny.
yeah, aye. I'd completely. I had no idea that Robinson played for Dunfermline. I knew Mabudi played for them and Gavin O'Reilly, but yeah, I didn't know Scott Robinson played for Dunfermline. But aye, that's a weird stat as well. But aye, obviously you done well to pull it 2-0 down to 2-2, and obviously had the chance to win it. You could definitely see that the subs that were made, Hamilton and Mullen for, was it Chin and Mullen
Aye.
that come on? Yeah, you can see that they changed it. Chin looks like he's got a big bundle of energy. A bit like Sosa with us, but I you can see he's got potential when he's young. And I don't know why he doesn't start a lot more often than he does.
He was out. It's like after our last home game against Arbroath, he got injured and he was out until trying to think. I think he made his return at the end of December. He was out
Mhm.
for ages, so he might not be 100%. That's
Aye.
fair. He didn't. So I can see why. I can understand why he's not starting, but for
Mhm.
like these last few games. But it's like, see, for Aberdeen,
Yeah.
I want him starting. I want him starting.
Yeah, definitely.
I want Chen and Mullen starting. I don't want to see Hamilton and McMullen in the starting lineup, but I know I
Yeah.
will.
Yeah.
Ruin my trip.
Absolutely. But I on your playoff thing, I think you're still in that kind of fight with Dunfermline, Raith. I would put yous in it. There as well. It's probably a bit of a stretch to put Ross County in that fight as well, mind you. But um, I think it's still in that fight kind of thing. I wouldn't give up hope too much yet, but I know there's a few Ray fans, in particular. Shout out to Jamie Hogan. I think he's kind of gave up on the playoffs. He's like, look, I'm not bored with it. Like, well, not that he's not bored with finishing the playoffs. Obviously, he would like to do it, but he's like, I would just much rather kind of be safe at any trouble this season and just kind of
I
build
just
on it
end the
next season,
season.
kind of
Just end
thing.
it
You know what I
now.
mean? Aye, but I think with how close you were to the playoffs last season, it'd be a bit disappointing not to build on that this season. You know,
Aye.
but obviously you've had that bad kind of run of form you were under Robson, so it probably is fair to say that and just say, look, kind of consolidate where we are, and just see where we land, kind of thing. But I know, and again, credits, as you said, credit to Arbroath there. They've come back up, and a lot of people probably tipped them to be either bottom or second bottom, and they've come up and they've blew everybody's expectations away. I thought they would be I didn't think they would finish bottom or second bottom. I think they would be about 8th or 7th, I think I predict them to be. But I didn't certainly expect them to be fucking snapping on our heels at second. 4 points behind us at this point. Aye, that is like the difference between getting promoted and not. It's consistency, and you need to keep that consistency. And they have, and they deserve all the credit in the world for that.
I was, as you did mention Barry Robson, he's been hired by Cork City over in the Irish First Division, so I will be keeping
Their
an eye on
second
their
division.
Twitter. Let's just put it that way.
They've been
I'll be-
relegated to the second division.
I know they
Cork,
got relegated out of the Premier Division. That's
yeah,
so
or it's a second tier.
aye.
Aye.
But it'll be interesting to see how that ends up going, because it'll be a case of first 4 months are absolutely brilliant, and then it just goes very downhill very quickly.
Yeah.
And I will be there. I'll be there on Twitter for it. But I like you say, it's like the inconsistency of teams in the midfield is like the only thing that's keeping me somewhat optimistic.
Yeah.
And it's like we'll get onto that in a. Actually, we'll get onto it now, because it is, of course, the only other game that managed to survive. Ayr against Airdrie, which, with that one being on, it suggests something about the the teams that are on the Clyde. And so this is our first game in 2026. Our last game was postponed, and Airdrie, as I mentioned, managed to get a 0-0 draw against Raith. Ayr were definitely the strongest team in the first half to start off with. Ben Dempsey got on the end of a nice passing move. He was 1-1, but Harry Stone, emergency loan goalkeeper for Airdrie. I don't think I mentioned that last week, but Harry Stone in goal made a really good save. Really good save to deny him, but Scott McMahon would get bundled over to an extent.
Yeah.
Didn't look the most convincing, but yeah, got a penalty for it, and Jamie Murphy converts, and after half an hour, Ayr 1-0 up, and this just woke up Airdrie. They just
Mm.
had a couple chances, and eventually Cole McKinnon, there was just like this weird bumbling in the box, and then he just smashes it. And I think it hits off the post and goes along the line and nestles in the other side net. It's a very scrappy goal, but it is what it is. Second half, meanwhile, I'd say that Ayr did hit the post just beforehand, but just before the halftime whistle, and then second half, from what I remember, it was just all Ayr, Ayr all over
Aye.
them. But then just couldn't. There wasn't really anything major, and it just petered out into a typical 1-0 draw. And this is a thing with Ayr. It's a home record that's killing them. They've got the second best
Yeah.
away record in the league, but their home record, they've got 11 points, which only Queen's Park and Airdrie have earned less at home. And there's like 3 other teams that are on 11 points from home games as well. But it's like for the team that's in fourth in the playoff spot, it's just weird. It's just a weird record they have, and it does feel as though they're gonna stumble into the playoffs just by accident, seemingly.
Aye. Like us last season. Well, us for the last 3 or 4 seasons, stumbling into the playoffs. I mean, I think you're pretty much nailed it on the head there. Really good point for Airdrie. Really good point away down there. And they possibly could have won it in the second half as well. They hit the post. But Ayr, as you said, pretty much had most of the pressure, had most of the ball, and just couldn't put it away. And I think that's the story of their season, to be honest. It's just far too inconsistent. I would say one thing though. I would say what is consistent, and that's Stuart Bannigan sending players, especially Airdrie players, 10 foot in the air. Build him a statue outside Firhill. But I know, I mean, as you said there, I wasn't actually aware of how bad their like home record was compared to their away record. Like, Somerset Park is notoriously a tough place for teams to go to, and for them to only pick up 11 points that at their home ground is it's very strange to say the least. And the fact they are that is relegation form. That but
I
their
was going
away
to say, like,
form,
off the top of my head, they've only got 2 wins. Two
uh,
wins at home. Which
that's absolutely mental. And the fact that the fact they're in fourth place as well, is wild. So that's why I wouldn't kind of like to go back to Raith for a wee bit. Like, I wouldn't kind of shut yourselves away from playoffs just yet. Um, but I think out of you or Dunfermline, maybe Dunfermline are edging it to taking over Airdrie, but again, they're the same as Raith and Ayr as well. They're just far too inconsistent at the moment. Well, they have been for the majority of the season. And that's how it's going to be. It's going to be a bit of a dogfight for the fourth place spot.
I just had a look in Ayer's next home game is against Raith, so can't wait to just making all these points. But yeah, and when it comes to Airdrie, it's just a case of once again, it's another very good point. It's 3 draws in a row now, which on the one hand is good, but then on the other hand, when you see that County have got 2 games in hand, and that new manager bounce against Thistle, Queens Park have got 3 games in hand, and
Yeah,
whilst it's like both those teams still have to play each other, um, they need to start getting wins, and actually, Ayr, they also need to start getting wins. They've only won 6 of their 21 games. They've drawn the most games in the league now. They've overtaken Morton. Which is impressive when you consider how Morton started the season.
yeah,
What was it? They drew like 8 of their first 10. But
yeah. Was there not like teams like 6 games in still waiting on their first win
yeah,
or something? I think there was like
it's like
what?
half the division hadn't won a game. Like
Yeah,
5 games in.
that was a very very strange start to the season. But
This
I
league is
think
so
it'll be
stupid, and I
interesting.
love it.
Aye, I think it'll be interesting. The fight for the fourth place. Hopefully we are not involved in it, and we are,
I'd be
you know,
really concerned. The gap is 11 points.
for listen, it's Thistle. Anything's gonna happen, Callum. But I think we are just naturally gravitated to fourth place. Somehow we will drop 11 points. The playoff gods will be shining down on us, and they will want us finishing fourth. But that's how I wouldn't. As just to go back there, I wouldn't kind of fair enough if you're kind of like just on the edge of like giving up on the playoffs. I can understand that, but especially when you've got your 3 players and that, with how consistent Ayr and to an extent Dunfermline have been, I think none of them should be like chucking the playoffs. Just you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that game broke me. Mentally. Just like, fuck's sake, Rovers. But aye, so that's all the championship action from the previous weekend. But of course, we're once again recording on a Wednesday because Tuesday night saw Challenge Cup action. This time,
Do we have to talk about this?
the other 6 games actually took place today. Obviously, last week, Raith managed to beat Queen herself, and Airdrie, they beat Montrose. Arbroath, they managed to come away with a 3-0 win against East Fife. Ayr, they managed to beat Stranraer 4-1. Queen's Park managed to beat Forth for 2-0. St Johnstone beat Ross County 2-0. And I think that's Ross County played 4 games now against St Johnstone, and they've not scored in any of them, which is quite funny. Stirling Albion, they lost 2-1 to Stenhouse Muir, and Partick Thistle drew 3-3 with Inverness. Inverness won 4-2 on penalties, which, when you consider that Partick also missed a penalty in the regular 90 minutes, it is a right laugh.
Yes. Well, Well, I think we were talking about it off air about the Challenge Cup. It is what it is. I mean, getting to the final, I think the only incentive is, I think it's like 150k if you win it. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think there's something. I think so obviously these teams now got made it to the quarter final, and it's £50,000 for making this stage. I think it was
Yeah.
40,000 for this one, this round has been, and then 30 for the last. And it's a fair bit of money. I think
Aye.
I think making the quarterfinals of the Challenge Cup actually gets you similar money to what you get for making the semi-finals of the English League Cup, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
It's like when you look into it, the English League Cup really doesn't offer that much prize money,
Aye.
but there's a lot of prize money on the line, and of course, it's a trophy that you actually
Yeah.
have a chance of winning if you're in at these levels, because there's no Premiership teams, you know.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
will
but
say
you're
this.
saying
I will say this one thing though. I'll kind of hit you with a start. I think since 2009 or something like that, in knockout penalty shootouts, we have won one and lost seven. That's not taking into account Betfred Cup group stages because we've won a few. We beat Motherwell one penalties in the Betfred group stage, and we also bet Peterhead away in penalties. But aye, 1 win in seven since 2009 in knockout penalty shootouts. That stat is fucking atrocious.
it's
And if
England
that
level.
wasn't bad, um, we have now last night's defeat in the Challenge Cup now means we have lost. And I think the last four seasons, we have lost to four teams that are in lower league in the lower league. So lower than and a lower division, shall we say? That was a long-winded way of saying that there. But I,
5 of the last 6 years as well, because
yeah,
2020 2021 edition didn't happen, and the 1921 Raith winning League One won it
yeah,
for Hill, and I was
yeah,
there, so good
in the
laugh.
semi-final, and then um, Falkirk. So the teams that have beat us are Falkirk. Well, Raith. I want to say Raith. So 5 and 6. So Raith, Falkirk, Alloa, and Queen of the South, and now Inverness. Um, I think last night Wilson kind of tinkered with the team a wee bit, and it shot himself in the foot, kind of thing. But I mean, it is about giving players minutes in the legs. Let's be honest, it's not a competition anybody really, not I wouldn't say cares about, but because there's prize money at stake, it's a competitive fixture at the end of the day. But aye, it is what it is. But I just if you play Partick Thistle in a penalty shootout, 9 times out of 10 you're winning it.
I was going to say I'd seen something about the attendances in this tournament, and where is it? Yeah, so yeah, we just had. So trying to think. So from this round, Airdrie against Montrose had 401. Queens Park against Fulham had 338. Sterling against Denny was 435, and then Arbroath East 5 750. Raith against Queen herself only had 854. I think we'd have to go back to the League One days for the last time there was less than 1,000
Aye.
people at a Raith game, and I think I commented about how it felt like a League One game because the Queen of the South fans were in the corner of the main stand. It's like, again, I hadn't seen that since like games against Stranraer and Forfar, and there's Ayr against Stranraer that hit 1,158, Partick against Inverness 1,370, and then St Johnstone Ross County had 1,815. But then there's the caveat of the St Johnstone game. They allowed season ticket holders in for
Mhm.
no extra cost. It's like Raith have been selling tickets for these games for a tenner. What was our attendance against Where's our attendance against Hamilton? 'Cause yeah, our attendance against Hamilton was 596. But the thing is like those two games, obviously it's midweek, so you're going to get less people, and the weather has just been really shit. Like the game
Aye.
against Accies took place in a storm, and the game against Queen itself, it was 1 degree, and it like felt like -5. But yeah, so of course, like the Challenge Cup draws being made on the Thursday, so cover that next time we are on. But before we do that, quickly go over the table because so St Johnston still top on 45 points with a game in hand on part. Thistle, who are on 40, 36 points for Arbroath, starting to catch up. And then with a game in hand in fourth is Ayr on 29 on 20 games, and 26 points is Dunfermline. And then Raith on 25 points from 22. 22 points from 21 is Greenock Morton. Airdrie have hit 20 points after 22 games, a lot sooner than last season, to put it lightly. Queen's Park, they've only played 19 games. Like I said, they've got 3 games in hand, and they're on 18 points. And then Ross County, 20 games and 16 points. Of course, this weekend is Scottish Cup weekend, and I believe all of the championship teams are in this. No, St Johnson aren't.
St Johnson.
St Johnson
Get it
aren't.
up, you Cal. Get it up, you. What a title that is for Partick Thistle.
got made it to the Scottish Cup 4th round trophy. That's what Partick Thistle can get. So yeah, championship teams. Dunfermline, they're at home to Hibs. That is a Saturday lunchtime kickoff. I can't remember what TV channel that is on. I believe it's BBC. Ross County are away to Motherwell. Stuart Kettlewell returns to Fir Park, and that is going to be a good laugh. I cannot wait for the Gogsy vlog on that. Greenock Morton, they are away to Stenhousemuir, who just beat Stirling, who beat Morton in the Challenge Cup. So I think we know what's going to happen here. Ayr United are away to Dundee United. They're facing a Jim Goodwin team who aren't in the best of form, and Jim Goodwin has a knack of losing to lower league opposition. Trying to think, an all championship affair with Airdrie and Arbroath. Queen's Park are away to Stranraer. Thistle, they're at home to Montrose. What are your hopes for this one? Just comfortable result, get into the next round?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. But I mean, just it's boring but winnable tie. You know what I mean? Saying that we've just been knocked out by League One opposition in Inverness out of a cup competition last day yesterday, so can't exactly get my hopes up with that. But I think comfortable, just a win and get us through. We need a win for somewhere to kind of get us back on track. You know what I mean? So I just through the next round and I'm happy.
It can't happen twice in a week, can it? It can.
Oh yes, it fucking can.
And then the Sunday early afternoon, I say early afternoon, 2:30 kickoff is of course Aberdeen at home to Raith Rovers. And if we had beaten, so if we had beaten Arbroath and played the full game like we did in the second half, I'd be going into this with a fair bit of confidence because Aberdeen have looked bad.
Yes.
It's like they sacked Jimmy Phelan, and it's like they're still looking for a manager. So I cannot wait for one to be announced Saturday afternoon, and it's just saying, "Oh yeah, he's going to be in charge for the game," and that'll be a right laugh. If it's Wilfred Nancy, I will happily take it. But I think the Aberdeen board, the football monitoring board at Aberdeen, are a bit more competent than what's going on in Glasgow. But so that's those games. We'll be back for the next round of championship fixtures where, we'll get a nice big rundown of what's happened in the cups, and of course the Challenge Cup draw being on the Thursday. But that is all for this week. So bye for now.
Catch you after.